The Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster is somewhat of a love letter to a time when Bethesda actually possessed some talent. It's kind of a throwback to 20 years ago where they seemed to know what they were doing. And the reception kind of makes that really clear because it's been interesting. I didn't kind of expect this because a Bethesda release in the current day and age, you expected it to be a bit of a disaster. I know when I was talking about the rumors and it's going to be on Unreal Engine 5, surely performance is going to be so embarrassing. That's all anyone's going to be talking about it. This thing's going to be a shit show. I expected that sort of launch, but realistically, you look at the Steam reviews, which I don't think count for that much, but just reception across the internet has been, I'd say, really overwhelmingly positive about this release, despite it almost being full price, and it's basically a 20-year-old game with a visual update. That's essentially it, and yet it's been a very positive reception, and you compare that to Starfield, which was absolutely panned. At best, there were people like me, I count myself among them, who were coping when it came out that no, there's got to be something here, we're missing it, just keep playing, it's the magic's going to still be there from Bethesda. It wasn't, and eventually the perception just was, it was a crap game, Bethesda are over the hill, a flop, they suck, they've lost all of their talent. So I think what it really has shown, this Oblivion Remaster, is a lot of the talk and criticism of Starfield, which I think somewhat, for some people, it boiled down to their game design is now outdated. People want something different. They've played maybe the Witcher 3s, Elden Rings, Baldur's Gates, and now people expect a higher standard from RPGs. So Bethesda need to change, new engine or whatever, they just need to come up with something new. But I think that the Oblivion Remaster shows they don't actually need to do that. They produce, or at least they used to, a very unique kind of game. Open world, kind of a simulator. It's easy just to jump in and have fun. It's not the sort of simulator kind of game, survival game or something where there's too many different mechanics you have to learn and it feels a bit too much. Any kind of casual gamer can jump in, you get a big world to explore, and you can have a decent time, regardless of your gaming experience or knowledge of different genres or whatever. It's just easy to enjoy yourself. So I think Oblivion Remaster shows that they don't have to fundamentally change. They've got something unique here with their style, but you do need to have some talent, some competence. You need to have people behind the wheel who know what they're doing, that they can come up with an interesting world, quests, having a bit of soul and passion around the game, and not just feeling generic in every possible way like Starfield did, where it just didn't really have a sense of identity. It's meant to be a sci-fi game, but there's no aliens. They call it NASA punk, which is just another word for boring, basically. It's a sci-fi setting where you decided to do nothing interesting. What was the point of that? Why did you bother chasing this new direction, new genre, if you had no interesting stories to tell? That's basically just how Starfield felt. It was a waste of potential, and it just felt like there was no point here. They're like, why do we have a million planets, but there's no actual space traversal? The planets themselves, you've randomly generated them, meaning there was just no passion put into it all. It seems like you didn't care. It's like you decided 6 or 7 years ago to make a space game, and then halfway through development you thought, maybe this was all a big mistake, let's just ship it out and get on to the next thing. They lost their passion or something. It was just one big miss, but they seem to be back, or at least the perception of Bethesda seems to be back with The Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered. People are saying good things about them again. They've recaptured people's attention, which I thought was lost. I thought Elder Scrolls 6 is going to come out and it's going to have so much. It'll have expectation. People will be expecting this has to be good for us to buy it. But people are almost also hoping for that next big disaster, things to laugh at, point and mock and all of that, because then we at least get some entertainment out of it. So I think there would have been that mixture of people, some wanting to love it and others looking forward to the laughter and the comedy of it all. Now I'm not so sure people are getting nostalgic again about the Elder Scrolls, so Bethesda have a bit of momentum. If they can seize it and do well with the Elder Scrolls 6, maybe it's not the end for them. Maybe that's cope, and this remaster is just reminding people of a better time, and they have totally lost it, but they have some sort of chance. I mean, the player numbers, I just want to mention a couple of things about this Oblivion Remastered, my thoughts on it. And then I want to show you the worst take I've ever seen about this game. It's from a game journalist, so maybe if I keep digging, I'll find much worse takes. You don't have to look too hard to find bad takes from game journals, but this one is particularly embarrassing. But just on the Oblivion Remastered, I mean, the player numbers were very surprising. I mean, just the Elder Scrolls name alone is probably going to generate a lot of players. I mean, Starfield, even with some controversy around it, still did extremely well on Steam and so on. But you look at this, an all-time peak for Oblivion just on Steam, ignoring Game Pass, consoles and everything, an all-time peak of 152,000, which is pretty damn good. I mean, that would be disappointing for the Elder Scrolls 6. They'll be expecting broken records and huge new things. But this is basically the same game from 20 years ago with some new assets, a shiny coat of paint. Under the hood, it's the exact same game, even though there's talk of, oh, they changed the leveling system and combat's a little bit better. Fundamentally, it's the same game. I mean, they just introduced things gameplay-wise that modders have probably done and put together relatively quickly. So this is the same game, and they've reached 150,000+ players. You compare that to the Veilguard, and that peaked at 90,000, which I think was more of a testament of the Dragon Age name, and people just hoping, come on, BioWare, just one last time, deliver for us, I'm going to give this a chance. That's where that number comes from. Nothing to do with the game itself, people being genuinely interested. It was purely nostalgia. And it got to 90,000, which I think much better than it actually deserved, which probably shows how people sort of jumped off it very, very quickly. It did not retain people who went on to finish the game. I think a lot of people just, nah, this isn't it, and left very quickly when they realized this isn't actually Dragon Age. This is something else. Then you look at Avowed, even more embarrassing. So I said Dragon Age, the Veilguard, nearly half the amount of players of Oblivion Remastered. Avowed at 20,000. I've lost my math skills. I don't even know how many times less this is. This is a sad number to get to 20,000 all-time peak players. Those are like moderately successful indie game numbers from a team of 6 people in someone's bedroom making a game. That's for a AAA product. Maybe they'll say, no, it's AA, Obsidian. We run on a tight budget, so we're very careful with our projects and our financials. So no, this is profitable or it's doing okay. I don't believe any of that. I've seen some people try and claim they're happy with these numbers. I don't believe it at all. And even the coping around Game Pass and suggesting, oh no, the game was on Game Pass. If you're just jumping onto Steam to judge it, you're being a hater, because it was also on Game Pass. Why would people pay when they can just subscribe and get it almost for free? They can access a bunch of other games as well, and Microsoft, they crunch the numbers, and if people subscribe because of Avowed, then it's a success. But that all falls apart because of the Oblivion Remaster, because that is also on Game Pass, and yet it reached 150,000 all-time peak players compared to Avowed, which is way lower. It's actually embarrassing. This is a big failure, and there's probably 2 ways to look at it. Now, the first way is, this is a sad thing for new products and new RPGs. I mean, the Veilguard, not a new IP, obviously, but first entry in a long time, doesn't do that well. Avowed, kind of a new IP, tied to Pillars of Eternity, but most people probably don't know that, so for most it's a new IP and no one's interested. Yet you remaster some old game from 20 years ago and it does really, really well. So some people will try and say, oh no, it's because it's gamers. They're not willing to give new things a chance. Maybe that could be it, but it could also be that when you just make crap that no one wants, it looks terrible, it's made by people who just give the impression they don't like their audience whatsoever, and they're just kind of resentful of the people they're selling to. They've got into this field, and it turns out the people who buy video games, and it's their genuine hobby, they're not just pretending to like them to co-opt some political movement. Those people don't want this, and they think it looks crap, and that's why they don't buy it. If Obsidian, with Avowed, actually stuck to what they originally said and sold Avowed as being their take on Skyrim, people might have actually been interested, and they changed their minds and later said, no, we're going to make it more like the Outer Worlds, we're not going to be doing our Skyrim. people misconstrued that and tried to say, oh no, everyone's just putting an expectation of Skyrim on it. That shouldn't be the case. No. Obsidian said that themselves, and then they pivoted. So no one wants to hear that. And it just made the whole project sound disorganized, development hell, multiple directors. The end result is something that was mediocre and did mediocre. No one really played it. So I think really it's just about delivering a game that, A, looks appealing, because the Oblivion Remaster, it does look appealing. I was kind of surprised at the extent they went with the visuals. I mean, this could be just Unreal 5. These days in modern game development, you can just do this and it's not as much effort as pulling off what looks like a full-on remake from the ground up. Despite some smoke and mirrors in the background, it's actually just running the old 2006 game with new visuals. Maybe that didn't used to be possible, and now it is. It's nice and easy. It's not that expensive. So maybe they didn't actually put that much work into it. We don't really know. Maybe they did. We'll give them some credit for once. But it looks good. Genuinely looks good regardless of the effort put into it. So I was surprised. The fact that it was called a remaster, in the leaks and stuff, I was just expecting a bit of a nothing. They used to do this like 10 years ago, where they would sell a remaster, but it looked exactly the same with maybe some new textures. The only way you'd even know is if they held some screenshots up alongside each other and you go, yeah, that tree in the background looks a bit nicer. Yeah, it's all good. That was basically what those old remasters used to be, and I think they just did them because it was the new console generation, so it was an excuse to sell new console owners an old game at full price. They used to do that a lot. Skyrim Special Edition was kind of that. Can't get away with that on PC. They can't resell the same game quite so easily, so they gave it away for free, I think, on PC, which just tells you they're ripping off the console players. But I didn't expect much from the Oblivion Remaster, but it looks good. It genuinely looks good. And I think, realistically, in this day and age, that's really just what people are looking for. After so much shite, one after the other, of these games, that you just take one look and you're not even just disappointed. It's just, here we go again. Why does this keep happening? Like, why can't you? You're trying to make money. We want to give you our money. Just make something that looks great and we're ready to go. Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, all these games. Something decent comes along, everyone jumps on it. You don't even need some ridiculous marketing campaign or the best graphics in the world or any of that. If that was the case years ago, it's not the case anymore. We just want something that grabs us, like you actually want our money, like you're actually trying and you want to deliver something that the average gamer can get pumped about. It's been a long time, it feels like, since that's happened on a regular basis, that something cool looking has come along. Usually it just looks hopeless, and then it's just people online trying to sort of cope and excuse the fact that this new game, which is usually a sequel to something that used to be good, now it's being ruined, and people try, nah, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, just stop being sexist or racist or whatever. Just get that out of your mind, and this is good. Ignore the genuine problems, genuine criticism that is deservingly applied. No, just consume, like it. This is all we've got. Come on. That has been the mindset for a while, it feels like. So something like Oblivion Remastered, where people will talk about the body type 1, type 2, but this is obviously a spectrum, right? Like, the majority of the game looks a lot better than some of the crap, like the Veilguard and so on. So I really think that's a big reason that it's done well and done better than some of these original RPGs, is people just have some confidence in it. They don't have confidence in Obsidian and modern BioWare and these shite studios. I still think that when Elder Scrolls 6 comes along, there is going to be understandable skepticism. I've seen a lot of bullshit recently from people trying to say, oh, gamers are just too negative. They just want to hate absolutely everything. And even with the Oblivion Remastered, some people were pretty skeptical. I mentioned I was kind of skeptical. But I'd see online where if anyone brought up, hey, these screenshots, I don't know if they're really in the spirit of the original Oblivion. This feels a bit generic. It feels maybe even a bit AI generated. I just don't know. And you get people saying, oh, gamers, you just can't please them. Like, where does this come from? It's just negativity for the sake of it. People have short memories, I think, because gamers in the past have actually been extremely positive. probably too positive, overhyping things like what happened with Cyberpunk. I've said many times I like Cyberpunk, but people absolutely overhyped it to the point they thought it was going to be some sort of life simulator and this whole literally game-changing thing that was going to change people's lives. Someone said that they were counting on it to cure their depression, and then it comes out and it's just kind of a rough around the edges open world Witcher 3 Deus Ex combination. And then some people lost their minds about how they'd been let down. I personally didn't feel that let down by it. I was pretty realistic with it, but a lot of people did. So there's a big history of gamers getting overhyped for things. So I see no issue with healthy skepticism. And if you're negative about it, and then it turns out to be good, it's a nice surprise. So who cares? I think that's going to happen with the Elder Scrolls 6. After Starfield, even though I think that Bethesda have probably regained some ground with just your average gamer, your average fan with this remaster, word of mouth is a bit more positive for Bethesda. People are still going to be a little bit concerned. There's still going to be the expectations. We'll see. I'm sure with this releasing, we know that Elder Scrolls 6 is a good 2, probably 3 years away. So we'll find out. But I've seen rumors that they're going to show off Elder Scrolls 6 as soon as this year. That might be part of trying to rebuild the brand and just get away from the whole Starfield negativity and just them being laughed at. So you never know. I'm going to end with this because I came across it and it was just the most embarrassing thing I've seen in a while. It's totally pathetic. It sort of hits close to home in a way because I think that, no pun intended, Jeremy Soule is literally the soul of the Elder Scrolls, and when I think about the Elder Scrolls series, whether it is Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, for me, especially in Skyrim, I think that music's incredible. The Oblivion music is also fantastic. It's probably been overly mean because it's shown up in so many funny clips and so on that it's hard to take as seriously. If you just step back, it's incredible music, especially by video game standards. But the Skyrim music it's the best thing about that game. I think they've watered some things down. It's less of an RPG than some of the earlier entries, but that music is what can bring me back. And just knowing that Jeremy Soule won't be doing the Elder Scrolls 6, as far as I know, I don't think he's even been active in any sort of video game music capacity for a while. Knowing he's not there, it just stings because the talent there, I think those Elder Scrolls game soundtracks, that they could be the best of all time. It's hard to think of any that are genuinely better. It really feels like these days especially, a lot of video game music is just in the background. I remember watching a really good video on it years ago about how in movie soundtracks, in game soundtracks as well, there's like this big push probably from the top to just make sure that the music matched how the viewer or the player was meant to be feeling at that exact time. So it was like this backgroundy music. It's like in a movie, there's a sad scene. So it's really generic sad music. Or you're watching an action scene, it's got to be uplifting and things. It's not like individual, interesting, great tunes to listen to that are memorable, like you find in Elder Scrolls, or if I think of other video game soundtracks that I've loved, like Silent Hill 2 or something that I played recently, where the music really stands out as its own thing that you can actually listen to on its own, and it's still great and brings back memories. A lot of music these days does not do that. So, all of that aside, this genuinely pathetic headline of, by choosing not to replace Oblivion Remastered soundtrack, Bethesda made the allegations against composer Jeremy Soule everyone else's problem. The only person with a problem is Wes Fenlon, video game journalist. No one else gives a shit. People are playing, and I guarantee that almost everyone who is nostalgic about Oblivion was looking forward to the music, and if they found out the music was not going to be in the game, that would have been the controversy. I spoke about reception being very positive for this remaster. They would have totally torched all of that and become a big laughingstock once again, Bethesda, if they'd done something as dumb as that. Like, if you think about the body type 1 and 2, or whatever it is, A and B, That's fine, but that is a big nothing compared to if they had have gotten rid of Jeremy Soule. That is something that actually would have ruined the entire game and just made it useless for pretty much everyone. Sure, on PC it would have been modded back in, but for everyone else, like, it just would have been a totally worthless project, not even worth playing if they replaced the music. Even if they did something stupid like re-recorded it for whatever reason, why that would make a difference, I don't know, but I've heard some people throw it out there. It's like, they're just not going to get it right. They're going to lose a lot of that feeling and what people loved about it. It's just not going to be the same whatsoever. And I guess just to clarify that type 1 and 2 thing, I think it's stupid that they put that in there. I think it comes from the fact that the culture has kind of shifted now, where I think a lot less of these projects are going to have that sort of crap. We saw it with the Lords of the Fallen team, where they removed it based on popular demand, basically. I do think, though, there's going to be some teething issues, where projects that started 2 or 3 years ago, they had team members who were just getting positively reinforced to put crap like that in there, to just push agendas in games that the majority of people just don't want. And they're just being left in there. It's too late to take them out, or these companies don't want to sort of point a big red circle on it and draw attention to it necessarily. They're just hoping something like that just gets in there and people don't not buy it because of something weird of that nature. I don't think it's going to continue for that much longer. I mean, the way I see it is obviously just having male and female you pick. That should be the default. That's just normal for most people. And then if someone wants to mod in separately type 1 and type 2, that's totally fine. I don't support censoring people creating a mod to make their version of the game for them. Just don't force that on everyone else. And Nexus mods as well. Don't ban people who do the other thing, because it is by default type 1 and 2. Someone added the male and female mod, and then I think Nexus banned it, and then they backflipped because everyone just laughed at them and said it was ridiculous. And Nexus mods probably know we're not even that great, it's just we're in a monopoly, so maybe we shouldn't rock the boat so much. Let's just give people what they want, essentially. So that's my thoughts on that, just so I'm not sidestepping it. But coming back to this article, Oblivion's soundtrack is a core part of its identity, but it's also tainted by association. It absolutely isn't. It's fantastic music. I have great respect for Jeremy Soule. There were supposedly, and that's what this gets into, some allegations from 5 years ago. It mentions here, those are good memories, the music, but today I have a different association with Oblivion's music. The 2019 allegations of rape and sexual misconduct against composer Jeremy Soule, who wrote the music from Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, among many other games. Yes, there's a lot of other games that he wrote music for that are also great. Now, Skyrim, Oblivion, probably my favorites, but this guy is one of, if not the best video game composer possibly ever. He was that good. And this, given it was back in 2019, like, this was a time, to be honest, where if people were getting accused like this in the media, public figures, they did just seem to stick. The allegations did seem to stick. And I think as time has gone on, not just this stuff, but just any sort of cancellation attempt for anything, I don't think it sticks like it used to. People are sort of over that, and people maybe think a bit more for themselves and just think, I mean, this guy, I love the music, I love what this person's done, I don't know at all what these allegations really are, if they're true, if they're not true, the person's not in jail, there's no facts here, really, we don't know what happened. So rather than just throw all these people where I either look up to them or I enjoy their work, I enjoy consuming their products, I'm just going to think for myself and go, nah, I'm going to continue to enjoy what they've developed for me. I'm going to enjoy their creativity and what they're doing, because the music has nothing to do with these allegations. They're totally separate. They don't concern me. They're not really any of my business, so that's fine. I mean, that's how I've always felt about, say, Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson's music. Incredible, one of the biggest talents of all time. I've heard questionable things. I don't really know a lot about them. I don't really care to look into them. Doesn't affect how I feel about his music. And I see often there's revisionist history that gets done where it's like people with a straight face try and say like, oh no, Michael Jackson's music isn't even that good. He sucks. He's got no talent at all. Really, it's because of these allegations that I know are true, because when I talk about them, I get upvotes or I get likes. I don't know anything about it, but no, he sucks. You see a lot of that. It's sad. Some of these people, great talents, they deserve to to have their side of the story heard, or to go through a court of law or something, not just public opinion. So the fact that Jeremy Soule has basically been driven out of the industry, whether that was his call and he went, this isn't worth it, fuck this, I don't need to deal with this, I'm just going to retire, basically. I don't know if that's what he's done or if he was pretty much pushed out and maybe he wants to continue with the series, write this music, but he's not allowed to because Bethesda don't want to backtrack, because I'm pretty sure they threw him under the bus at the time. I don't know, but it's just a sad situation. And then, again, no one cares about this at all. People just wanted Jeremy Soule's music, the original Oblivion soundtrack, and you get this clown trying to act like, oh, it's everyone else's problem. Other people, we're all feeling uneasy about the soundtrack being in the game. No one is thinking about that, whether they have no idea about these supposed allegations, or even if they know, they don't care. They just want the great music. They can separate the man from the art if they need to, and they can enjoy it because it is fantastic music. And continuing here, Soule denied the allegations in 2019. In the years since, he's almost completely vanished from the internet, scrubbing official sites and social media profiles, and hasn't composed any new music. Now, this person's not saying it outright, but I believe that they're implying that because he removed his social media, that's evidence that he's guilty. And why would he do that if he wasn't guilty? He's hiding. He's trying to escape all of this. I mean, you can decide that because you want this to be true, basically. You want something new to cry about and write these articles about. But, I mean, really, he might have just had enough and went, no, I just want to be left alone. Fuck this. I mean, again, it's not like he's in jail or he's been actually legally held accountable for this. They're just unproven allegations. So why would he be hiding like this? It doesn't actually make sense. He might have just had enough. And that's it. Again, I think that's sad because we all miss out on potentially great work because of this bullshit. Oblivion wouldn't be the game we remember without Soule's music. First true thing that's been said. He ruins it though you could argue the same for the shimmery haze of its original lighting or its charmingly ugly NPCs. Those things get memed on. So the haze of the original lighting, which I don't mind, I think it gives sort of a good fantasy feel to it, Lord of the Rings, same with the NPCs, but they're kind of stupid, whereas the music is genuinely incredible and well remembered in every way. It can be two things at once, beautiful and tainted by association with its creator. No, it isn't. It's not the two things. It's one. It's incredible music, and your thoughts about the creator, they're irrelevant. People have had enough of this. A change may have been hard to get used to, but it hardly would have been unprecedented. Halo 2 Anniversary's re-recorded soundtrack replaced the tracks by Infamous and Breaking Benjamin with new compositions. That just feels like a terrible example. Now, I did actually play Halo 2 Anniversary. I never played the original, so I don't actually know the difference and whether something was really lost there. But from what I'm reading here, there was actual real-life songs that were put into the game. I don't know if they were developed, if Breaking Benjamin, for instance, created songs specifically for the game. Sounds a bit weird, maybe not, but it doesn't sound like a situation where you're spending 100+ hours in a fantasy world and you're hearing these tracks over and over, and they almost create the identity of the game, the nostalgia, all those memories. They come from that music when you hear it again, and it takes you back to that time when you were, whatever, you were 9, you were 10, you were 11, you're sitting down playing it. It's a simpler time, you're having fun, you have no cares in the world. That's what the music brings back for people. So it's not the same as a Breaking Benjamin song popping up in Halo 2 Anniversary. And they were probably re-recorded for financial reasons, because they didn't want to pay the expensive big-name band. Whereas in the case of Jeremy Soule's music, it would just be stupid. You're just replacing it and actually wasting money because you're scared about some idiot at PC Gamer pointing it out in an article that no one cares about. That's the big reason people would have been frustrated with Bethesda for it. It is the very fact that it was so unnecessary. And if they made that move, if you were kowtowing to this stupid mob that is getting ever more fleeting, they're becoming the loudest minority ever because there's so few of these clowns. That's why people would have been really pissed off, as there would have been no justification for it. The good news is it didn't happen. Oblivion Remastered launched with the same soundtrack. People can enjoy. People are having fun, and no one cares about these idiots anymore. They're being quickly forgotten, which is a positive thing. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.